Hello, my name is Marina Raydun, and I'm the author of Year One, a fictionalized memoir. This fictionalized memoir is based on my first year experiences in America in the years 1994 and 1995 in Brooklyn, New York. By way of context, I was 11 when I arrived in America, and I turned within the first few months, I turned 12. I completed 5 grades back in Belarus, but given the cutoff date in New York State, I was placed into grade 7, which only led to more anxiety as I did not know any English. And now I also had to worry about having missed content, potentially. So given that today is September 6th and a lot of schools are having their first day of school this week, I would like to read from chapter 10, which is about my first day in an American school as a 7th grader. So here goes a little caveat. I'm not a professional narrator. In my audiobook, Lauren Elder does the narration, and she knocks it out of the park. So if you want to hear this done better, please head on over to iTunes or Audible. But here goes. Year One by Marina Raydun, chapter 10. School doesn't start September 1st here. It starts after something known as Labor Day, just like Victor had told us. On Thursday after this holiday, Mom walks me 4 blocks up and 1 over so I can begin my American academic career. There are no flowers for teachers in sight when we get there, which is a relief because contrary to decades of conditioning, it hasn't occurred to Mom to make me carry a bouquet the way I would have done back in Belarus. A colorful crowd of students and parents are piping their way through the main doors. From the looks of it, we shouldn't all fit. Mom and I joined the tail end and are carried inside the auditorium, where parents are to line the wall and students are to take a seat. This is called an assembly. Tanya, the bespectacled English language prodigy I'd met the day I registered for school, informs me. In a sea of heads, I'm grateful to recognize one and latch onto her immediately inside the crowded, overfilling space. I take a seat next to her in the back row of this impressive room. It's large, much larger than my old school's 30-seater. The rows here are curved with 3 sections and 2 aisles. The slope is significant and intimidating. It is also poorly lit, which adds to both the intimidation and mystique. Both my limbs and core are soft and soggy. I feel a vague nausea coming on. Someone, I have to presume is the school's director or principal here in America, begins to speak into a microphone, but all that reaches me is a blanket of sounds. I can't decipher a single word. I can't tell where one word ends and another begins. I turn to find Mom. She's next to Tanya's mom now, behind us. She winks at me and continues to pretend she knows what's going on. She's more convincing than I am. He'll be calling out names of ESL students, English as a second language. Listen to yours and join the correct teacher. Tanya helpfully translates for me as the tall man with a mustache begins to butcher Russian names. Contrary to my silent instruction to shut up and listen, my heart grows loud in my ears. I'm afraid I will miss my own name. I'm already not sure how they pronounce it over here, and the noise of the auditorium and the gratuitous bass from my heart are only setting me up to fail. I strain so hard my neck begins to hurt from being thrust so far forward in the effort to make out a familiar string of sounds amid the avalanche of others. I fail, of course, and it's Tanya, whose last name alphabetically falls right in front of my own, grabs my hand and walks me toward a slouching figure, looking even less eager to be there than I. Apparently, this is our homeroom teacher. We had to line up and file out of the auditorium. I pass Mom and nod in her direction. Neither of us is sure if American middle schoolers hug, so we don't. I doubt any of us are American per se. This is just where they had people like us gather in order to organize the cattle into manageable herds. We exchange no words as I wave at Mom and follow a woman named Miss Feldman out of the auditorium, down the hall, and up the narrow and dimly lit staircase. We emerge on the second floor and have a short walk from the well of stairs to our new classroom. The hallway, too, is lit anemically here, with no windows to be seen, and classroom doors lining the corridor. The classroom itself sports 3 enormous windows, the sun generous even through the metal mesh covering the glass. The sight of it intensifies the nausea, and I try to breathe through my mouth. It's a good thing I fought Mom against having breakfast. The room is large, but it's so full of kids. "Yo, Feldman!" A boy twice my height cheers. I try to understand. He's had her before? He must have if he's this familiar. What I don't understand is how. Did she teach 6th grade before? And do we have just the one teacher? Continuously scanning the busy, buzzing room, I noticed that on the board behind the nervous woman who is now my teacher, there is something written in big, ornate letters. "Welcome to 7-8-222. This is my opportunity then. I run through the words in my head a few times before raising my hand. "It says 7-8, but I am 7. I muster, pointing behind the woman. Miss Feldman takes a couple steps in my direction, curves her shoulders even lower than their natural line, evidently saving herself from having to project any louder than she has to, and says, in Russian, "They're both 7th and 8th graders here." I can barely hear the content of her short answer over the groan of everyone talking over one another and the whoosh of blood in my ears. It turns out I didn't have to practice in my head. "How?" I ask the teacher in Russian when I come to. "There are too many immigrant kids now. There is no other way." She explains this hurriedly as the class behind me in the front row explodes in laughter over something unseen. Obviously, they're all old friends. The teacher pays them no mind, instead focusing on counting out the right amount of some miniature cards she's handing out. When Miss Feldman returns her attention to the class, I can only presume she's telling them to quiet down, because some of them appear to be making an honest attempt at doing just that. She says some more words I don't understand, but she's waving the cards around. I assume she wants us to fill them out. Tanya, next to me, already began doing so, needing no further instructions. I copy from her. Last name, first name, class. Mid-card, I fit my address and this teacher's name. Tanya has already accurately gathered that Miss Feldman is our English teacher, so we put that down as well. In the line asking for parents' name, I put Dad's. Mom won't be able to say much if anyone calls her, but then again, Dad won't be home if anyone calls. Were my sister to move with us, I probably would have put her name there. Collecting the cards takes longer than handing them out. I didn't look at the oversized clock above the blackboard when we first came to this room with long desks arranged in too many rows, but it feels like this lesson should be over any minute now. Surely we've been here for over 45 minutes? While she waits for the massive boys in the back to settle back down and finish their cards, Miss Feldman jots down our class schedule on the board next to the fading welcome message. I root for my blue binder in a rush to copy the words that barely ring a bell into the very first page of loose leaf paper. I'm not sure which subject this would technically fall under, so I just throw the first yellow divider open and begin to write, my eyes never leaving the blackboard. Homeroom 222, Period 1, ESL 1, Room 313, Period 2, Math 215, Period 3, Science 402, Period 4, Lunch Recess, Period 5, ESL 2, Room 222, Period 6, Gym, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Shop Friday. Period 7, Social Studies, Room 224, Homeroom, Room 222. So the lessons are called periods, and I have 2 English classes. That much makes sense. So does the word math. The rest is a mystery. When the bell rings, my goal is to follow Tanya. She's gathered her belongings before I do and stands up ready to go. Feeling the pressure, I shove my binder inside harder and harder until it fits. Dad had, in spite of all logical reasons against it, allowed me to buy a backpack made up of colorful suede patches. He feared it'd never survive a year, and my rough handling it right now is not going to help prove him wrong. It cost us over $20, and I doubt I can ask for a new one mid-year. But I'm in a hurry. I don't know how long our break is and where room 313 is. I need to get out of here before Tanya leaves me behind. As I finally throw on my backpack, I notice that Mila, the figure skater, joins us. She seems a little more shell-shocked than Tanya, but definitely less so than I. "Can I walk with you?" she asks in Russian. Strength being in numbers, I immediately say yes, a little too enthusiastically. Now Tanya has to lead the both of us. The break is 4 minutes, and that time Tanya is quick to figure out which way to go. She simply looks at the room numbers around us, notes which staircase is designated for upward mobility and which one is for downward, and immediately knows to take us up one flight and over. I don't register much except for the dimness and fullness of the hallways. The hallway is overwhelmingly dark and narrow and chock full of people. I can't see anything but the backs of the people in front of me. They are colorful in their outfits, a stark difference from the backs of my Soviet school, where all the girls wore brown and all the boys wore blue. As fun as this kaleidoscope is, apart from the shoulders, I can't see anything else around me. There are yellow tiles on the walls and rows of halogen lights above. Under my feet is brown linoleum. My brother-in-law's words reverberate inside my head. Prison school. I need to find my gang to ensure my safety. This is lockup, and I don't get out until 3 p.m. If I need to recreate this route myself tomorrow, I will fail. To find out what happens next, head on over to Amazon. Year 1 is available in Kindle format, paperback, as well as audio on Audible and iTunes. And if you if you have a membership with Kindle Unlimited, you can also read it for free on your Kindle. Thank you so much, and I hope you and your children have a much better first day of school than I did in 1994.